In 1987, I returned to work at a small elementary school in a little community in Maryland. I was 31 years old at the time. During the summer, the garage across the street from the school had changed hands, and there were a lot of guys over there working on trucks. I barely noticed them as I went about my business of getting prepared for the new school year. One afternoon, I was going to a meeting for the school with a friend. We took my Corvette. When we were pulling out of the parking lot, I heard a guy whistle at us from the garage. I didn't think a lot about it. School started, and eventually I began to notice a small red sports car parked facing the school parking lot over at the garage. I had to be at school at 7:30 a.m., and I was always early. This garage did not even open until 8 or 8:30, and the red car was the only car over there when I got to work in the mornings. Since it was backed in, I could not see a tag number on it. In Maryland, you have to have front and back tags, so I figured this person was either disobeying the law or from neighboring Pennsylvania or West Virginia. I noticed a guy sitting in this car each morning. He was facing where I parked my Corvette and walked into school. It was really creepy. Eventually, he started getting out of the car and trying to talk to me, often yelling things and whistling at me. A friend of mine who had been a Marine and worked at the school noticed the guy and thought he was talking to me. My friend asked me who the guy was, and I told him I didn't know him and never talked to him. One morning, my Marine friend found this guy inside the school before time for teachers to arrive. The man told my friend that he was looking for the time. My friend told him to leave the premises. This guy continued to harass me as I walked into work, and when I was with the children on the playground, and when I left work in the afternoons. He would sometimes be laying under a truck watching me, and another time friends and I noticed him on the top of the roof of a box truck watching me. I finally was able to get his tag number and gave it to the police. I had no idea that he was a known sex offender in 2 states, but we didn't have very strong laws at the time, and he seemed to be aware of how far he could push the limits without being arrested. We had no stalking laws at the time, so the police advised me on ways to protect myself and stay safe. They also contacted the principal at my school and told him of ways to keep me safe. I was told to stop coming to work early and to never walk to or from the building without someone with me. My Marine friend was usually there to greet me in the mornings. Some teacher friends parked near me and would walk out with me in the afternoons. This guy's harassment went on throughout the school year. I was especially afraid when I had children on the playground and he would watch me there. One day, I noticed his car was not at his job. I was so happy. I did not think I would be encountering him that day. I was wrong. After work that day, he was sitting in his red sports car under the interstate bridge when I got on the highway south to go home. He sped up behind me and started chasing me down the highway. I mentioned my car being a Corvette earlier in order to explain this part of the story. I was able to lose this guy because thankfully my car was faster than his car. I drove at a higher rate of speed than I should have. I was able to lose him behind some traffic. I pulled into my dad's business and we watched as this man drove around looking for me. He must have given up because we saw him get back on the interstate and head back north. I immediately called the police and informed them of the incident. There still was no basis to arrest him. Winter turned to spring, and I was sitting on my brother-in-law's porch one Sunday afternoon with my sister-in-law. Their home was about 25 miles away from our home. I noticed a small red sports car in the area while on the porch. The next thing I knew, this car roared down the road, and the man stopped his car right in front of the porch. He looked at me with wild eyes. I screamed for my brother-in-law, who came around the corner. When the man saw him, he fled the area. School ended that year, and this man apparently moved on. I haven't seen him since 1988. I have heard that he has harassed other women over the years in Pennsylvania, where he is from. Our laws are stricter now, and our sex offenders have to register and live according to the laws in each state. Ironically, my next job was working as a sex offender registrar with our police department. We also have stalking laws in place now. I helped with a neighborhood watch program in our town and spent lots of time taking advantage of the free classes offered by our local police department on personal safety. I would recommend that others look into taking classes, starting neighborhood watch programs, and as always, be aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't seem right, it probably isn't. Don't ever hesitate to call for assistance. Creepy Mina here of the WorstNightmare channel. Finally back from the holiday break. This story was actually submitted to me by one of my subscribers' mothers, Tudor Rose, who sent a subscriber story. Her mother sent me this story, and I think it was a really good story. A lot of things to learn from it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, give me a thumbs up, share on your favorite social networking platform, subscribe if you haven't already, and always remember to stay safe.